What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today, I'm going to talk about the viral video going around with the African American lady in Ghana, and she has some complaints, right? And it's going viral, and I see everybody talking about it, and I've talked about it somewhat in the past, kind of like what she say, but she seemed to be, she's pretty flicked off, and I can understand why she's pretty flicked off about the situation. And I've noticed when these things happen, it causes lots of emotions to go left and to go right? Because it's forcing us to confront obvious truths that we have to deal with as Africans, right? And one thing I just want to be clear, one thing I do not like, right? And one thing that does exacerbate the issue is that every time there's a video like this where somebody's making a genuine complaint about something, all the bad actors, they seize upon the moment to say, this is my example. I'm going to use this as an example and use it as a weapon to justify my xenophobia and hate, to justify all the negative things I got to say about another person because this one thing happened over here, right? Right? Just like we just found out another sister got, apparently, I don't know the full story, but apparently another sister got killed in Ghana, right? So Ghana seems to be, or this portion of the continent seems to be the discussion of topic as the moment. But right now, what's happening is being exacerbated, right? And it's not being talked into its full context to the point where there's not a real conversation just going on. There's just people throwing shots, right? This is the opportunity for somebody who either don't know anything about their African history, who don't know anything about African history, who have acrimonious altercation with African people in the workplace or in personal life, whether dating or whatever, and they feel they're gonna express their emotions, or they're gonna project their insecurities or hatred or dislike or discomfort or mental illness onto other people utilizing this particular piece of information. That's what they do. They compartmentalize. They go on the internet and look for corroborating evidence to back up the way they want to think, not looking for new evidence or looking for new ways to think or to add context to the actual conversation, right? So you got this lady, African American lady, she had several complaints in Ghana. Now, I operate in Nigeria, right? But let's just keep it real, man. Ghanaians and Nigerians are the same people. Same people, all right? African Americans and Nigerians, same people. African Americans and Nigerians are the same people, all right? African Americans, Ghanaians, we're all the same. We're the same people. We just have different ethnic and nationalistic identities based off our recent history, right? But overall, we're the same people. And black people act like black people no matter where black people at. Black people act like black people no matter where we're at. And we all have certain cultural consistencies and things about us, just like we know white people got certain cultural consistencies and things about them. Asians have cultural consistencies and same things about them. We all got things that identify, how we as human beings act, right? Right? And as a group collectively. And what I'm finding out is that collectively what's not being taken in consideration is that there are a group of African Americans who want to escape the white Western world, and they want to go to Africa. They see Africa as their savior, right? They want to be rescued. They want Africa to save them. They want Africa to be Superman. They want Africa to be this place that's already made, ready to protect them. Their African heaven, right? They want to have all the features of American society in Africa. They want it all, right? But they want all of that without any of the racial discrimination and the hardships and the systems and the stresses and all that stuff, right? And what I'm finding out, right? Now, keep in mind, Ghana, honestly, African Americans have been living in Ghana for the better part of 50 years now. The vast majority of African Americans who are in Ghana did not go there during the year of return. That was a marketing campaign to get more African Americans to invest their money into Ghana and to stimulate the economy and also promote Pan-Africanism. It does a whole bunch of things. Now, did it quite work out? We don't know where the money went because the investment didn't seem to go in the country. And African Americans, we invested billions upon billions of dollars into Ghana only to see it squander away, right? Because the apparatuses that run the country just like a lot of other countries in Africa, you know, they're not quite up to snuff, or they're not quite prepared to actually follow through wholeheartedly with the thing that they want to do, right? Because a lot of them are still stuck underneath or still connected to these white Western institutions that finance a lot of these individuals who are in charge personally and their families, right? But you know, but things like the airport, right? Let's start with the airport. Now, when I go to Nigeria, I also get irritated when I go to the airport and somebody's begging me for money as soon as I get off the plane. To me, as an African American who takes pride in being black, who takes pride in Nigeria and Nigerian people, I feel like when I get on the airport, if you're begging me for, you're already I paid for a service to fly here through the airport, right? Through these, I already paid a ton of money to get through here. My visa, I gotta pay for a visa to get Nigeria. The only reason I'm using Nigeria because that's where I go. But Ghana, it should be different because Ghana is the one promoting to come here. So like for Nigeria, I know Nigeria hasn't started a program to promote their diaspora, which is all African Americans, to come back home, right? Right, but Ghana has. So if Ghana was gonna do it, they should have did it right. Do it like Israel. They should have had a thing where if you can prove that you are Ghanaian, you have Ghanaian DNA or genetics, that you could be visa free. It should be a welcome. There should have been a welcome package. Don't say welcome, come visit Ghana, because if it was a year of visiting Ghana, it should have been, hey, come see Ghana, come vacation in Ghana. It should have been advertised as such, and people would have went there and did as such. But it was advertised as come move here, bring your resources, bring your African American resources that you have, bring it here and infuse that into our economy, right? And a lot of African Americans jumped up and did it. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of African Americans, the ones that did do it, they were highly enthusiastic, right? But these African Americans that did it, they weren't fully aware of the context of the history, of the recent history of Africa. You see, we African Americans, we know about slavery, the transatlantic slave trade. We know about all that stuff. We know about what the English, Anglo-Saxon European did to us over here, right? But we don't take in consideration what that very same English Anglo-Saxon barbarian's brother, the other Anglo-Saxon barbarian, did on the continent. Because keep in mind, they're the same oppressor, right? It's the same oppressor. Let them continue to label us different terms and stuff so that we can continue to divide ourselves. That's a European thing. But we Africans, all right, when they took us from our home, they're the ones who attach these other new labels that we now fight each other over, right? Which is absolutely ridiculous and a part of that mental slavery we need to get rid of, right? But Ghana, what Ghana should have did, they should have gave us birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship is what they should have done. They should have made the administrative process smoother. Now there is a process. You just saw Stevie Wonder got his he just got his citizenship. A lot of people, African Americans, have gotten their citizenship in Ghana and other African countries. But it shouldn't take an extraordinary person who's already famous and well known and already have lots of means to get that done. The average individual should be able to have a smooth process towards integrating into the Ghanaian system, right? If they also have the money to invest, because at the same time, Ghana don't want the vagabonds of the African American community. I would never promote sending the worst of us over there representing us. We want the best of us. We want the people who can go over there and make effective change. And the thing is, during this era, you got African people, African Americans trying to save themselves by going to Africa, while you got African people trying to save themselves and coming to America. Everybody's flip-flopping and diddy-dotting, they're just all over the place, right? But they're moving, right? But they don't have the purpose and they don't have the money to do the thing they want to do. You can't just get up and go to Africa with your $15,000 401k savings and think that you're going to make it. And when you don't make it, you complain that things are more expensive than you expected to be when you did absolutely no research. Not one rational human being would move to another state without first visiting that state, knowing somebody from that state, establishing themselves in that state, getting a job in that state, and then slowly but surely migrating to that state once steeply established in that state. That's in America. So it blows my mind that any African American, no matter how excited they was about going back to the motherland, waited, all of a sudden thought that they were going to get on a plane, right? And in their middle ages, hop over there, right? Hop over there without going and not knowing the politics, not knowing the history, not knowing how the government works, not knowing the context of the social society and what plagues the area, not knowing anything and just going and expecting to have this wonderful Wakanda experience. Wakanda was a movie. Wakanda was a movie. Now, if you want to make Wakanda, you can make your own Wakanda, like I'm doing. But that requires hard work. Wakanda didn't just get built by itself, right? Even in the movies, it had to be made. It had to be created through hard work, ingenuity, right? Even in imaginary scenarios, you still got to work hard to do it. You can't just go there with your money because somebody told you things was sweet over here and you just went. And I'm having a hard time understanding why so many African Americans are going to Africa unprepared. There are so many African Americans so excited they're going to Africa unprepared because they just want to leave so fast. Then they get over there and they're not ready. They're not ready because in reality it takes more than just enthusiasm and warm feelings to survive anywhere. All right. Now, when it comes to the begging, yes, unfortunately, I don't know. I think I do know, but West African Nigerians do it too. The begging is the most disparaging thing that I see. It starts at the airport. They try to grab my bags before I even, assuming that they think I'm rich. I come off the airport, they think I'm rich, like a millionaire. They think I'm like a millionaire, like I'm P. Diddy, like I'm oh shit. I'm not P. Diddy. Nothing like P. Diddy. Let's just, you can't even say that shit no more. God damn. Y'all see that video? Anyway, they think I'm rich, right? So they make that assumption. So they think that, oh, you can $20. That's nothing to you, right? But let me tell you where they get this from. Because as I watch African media, America, right? Seeing it, the same networks that we watch, right? That tell us that these places are dilapidated. They tell us that these papers are horrible. They have no infrastructure. They ain't got shit. Listen, the same networks over there, they have their own programming, same stage, different newscasters, right? They're telling the rest of the world that Americans are rich. All African Americans are balling. America is to come to America right now. It is the shining city on the hill. You will make it. Trust me. Just get on a plane and go. They have lotteries in these countries where sponsored by NGOs and American organizations try to siphon all the intelligent, smart Africans from every country, because they do the same thing in Asia, they do the same thing in India, and they do the same thing. They do in Europe. Do the same thing. Europeans and white Americans and Europeans all fight for the global South intellectuals to come to their countries to bolster their countries. So they advertise that they're the best country in the world. If you look at these commercials, when I see these commercials of America from Africa, I be like, what fucking country is that? I don't know that country. What are you talking about? Right? So if you're coming from a perspective where the only TV that you have, keep in mind, Western TV is controlled by the West, no matter where it's being broadcast, right? So they control what people believe and think. So these people truly believe America is like this place that you just gotta work hard, because over there, even if you want, some places in Africa and in Nigeria, in my experience, even if you work hard, there's no opportunity to work. There are no jobs. Doesn't matter how many degrees you get, there's no jobs. And Americans are starting to feel that too. Because in America, no matter how many degrees you got, no matter how many student loans you pulled out to get that degree, guess what? There ain't no job. Same thing happening in China. Ain't no jobs. There's no jobs, right? So you got these people with no jobs, zero opportunity, because the government, right, they're too busy being corrupt like the rest of the governments in the world. And if we, as African people, if we keep waiting for the governments, even if the government officials look like us, if we keep waiting for the governments to do something miraculous and spectacular for us, then we're going to just be waiting. That's what we're going to be doing. We're just going to be waiting, because politics, they don't get shit done. All right? All they're there for is to somewhat structurally organize the society in which we live in. And sometimes they go overboard. Sometimes they don't do nothing. Sometimes they lame duck. Sometimes the society itself runs itself with a minimalistic government. It's happened various different ways throughout history, right? But we can't count on government. We can only count on ourselves and our own due diligence, right? So what do I do when I go to Nigeria and I get begged for money, when I get pressured for money? You know what I do? I smile in their face and I say no. That's what I do. Let me tell you something. When I go to the Nigerian airport, sometimes they be customs and border patrol lined up, shined up, badges. They got all the, I'm talking beautiful Nigerian women officers, handsome Nigerian men looking just as sharp and proud to be Nigerian and to be officers of the federal government. And they will sit there and ask me. First, they'll be very polite, smile, and they'll say, hey, how are you? Welcome, da-da-da-da, because they always think it's my first time there. They don't know who I am, right? And then they ask, do I have something for them? And when they say it, this deep, deep, deep sense of sadness comes over me when I look at them. And I just want to give them a whole 45-minute spiel of how you need to respect yourself in the uniform that you wear, in the government that you work for, in the airport that you work at, and don't say things like that. Don't be corrupt. I be wanting to say all that. I be wanting to tell them who they are in their face and how embarrassing they are globally when they do that. That's what I be wanting to do. It takes everything in me not to do it, right? But I just tell them I ain't got it. I tell them I don't have anything for you. I make it very clear. I don't have nothing for you. My money belongs to me. And you can say it real nice. And you know what they do? They move on. They don't badge you too much. They move on. But it's embarrassing. And it's something that can be easily fixed with a policy, with policy. Now, the last time I went, it wasn't like that. So I think some things are getting better at the airport. But it's very embarrassing. And then when you get out into the town, now the people themselves, they're normal. We're just talking about the officials that have access to you because of, you have to go through them as liaisons. All right. Now, as far as citizenship, there are ways. If that lady wanted to become a citizen that bad, she should go through the proper steps to become a citizen. And if she qualifies, she will become a citizen. She wanted somebody to give her the citizenship. But let me ask, what did that lady contribute to the country in order to deserve citizenship? Because there's no program. She went over there knowing that there's no program. So what was her plan when she went over there? What did she think was going to happen? Because you can think something and know something. I'd rather know what's going to happen than think. I don't want to just make assumptions. What did she think was going to happen? And for somebody to have such an issue, she continues to go back. So obviously she likes the place. She just don't like the administrative procedures. But I guarantee you this same lady will complain at her local state Department of Motor Vehicles who didn't give her great customer service. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. And another thing, and I don't want to be sexist. I don't want to be sexist. I gotta repeat, I don't want to be sexist, but this is something that needs to be said. A lot of African American women are going over there and they're just saying they're going over there and they're not prepared. They're going over there by themselves and they're complaining about things they shouldn't be complaining about because they should have known already. Women, you women who are watching me, you run your mouths. Women have no cut cards, right? As y'all say. A West African woman is a West African woman, no matter if she calls herself an African American, a Ghanaian, a Nigerian, a Togolese, a Sierra Leone. A West African black woman is a West African black woman, and her emotional impulses will react the same way from outside stimuli as any other West African woman will react to outside stimuli. And that causes problems. Because West African women will run their mouth and they will say what they got to say, and they don't care what people think. They don't care about the context at which they are saying it because they are in their emotions and they will just say it. So then you get a bunch of women arguing like women, all right, on the internet about the luxuries they didn't get, about the conveniences that they didn't have, about the service that wasn't provided perfectly for them. And the worst of the worst is when you have a bougie class of African women, which would be the African American, like it or not. We are the bougie class of African Africans on this planet. And so when you get a bougie class of Africans who exude that African Western, white, European, dominant Western culture of I'm better than everybody else and I deserve everything, along with a mix of I'm being freaking held down by the other oppressor in my society and I need to move back to my motherland. You know, they don't take in consideration that my people over there was, you know, they were suffering too by the same white man that you live with. Right? So, you know, they go over there. Oh, what do you mean that this is not 3-ply toilet paper? This place sucks. And then they say Africa. So if you have an issue in Ghana, so now it's Africa. That also shows you have a gross view, a gross perspective of the world. Africa is so big, it is literally the world. Saying that something happened in Ghana is like saying something happened on planet Earth. I can't stand human beings because when I was in Ghana, this thing happened. That's how big Africa is. Europe is this big, but if a European did something to you, you'll come on, you'll say that this damn English person did. You wouldn't say all of Europe did this to me. Because when I was in France, somebody, you know, stole my napkin or some shit. Them French people are rude. No, we would just say French people are rude. Right? We'll say that mother plucker at the French bakery was rude. Right? We wouldn't say the entire continent of Europe is rude because of that one French person in that bakery. You generalize because you're being intellectually and emotionally lazy and you don't want to sit there and add context to the conversation because you rather just be in your feelings and be mad and project because you're upset. So lazy people who are emotional project their feelings on the internet, and then you got other people who are also contextually, intellectually, and socially and politically lazy and don't know anything. They catch wind of it. Now you got two low information groups of people talking back and forth, hurting each other's feelings. Where somebody said that their country is this, and now, well, you suck. Well, you suck. So now we got children fighting. We got children fighting. They look like grown adults, and most of them look like women. Coming on the internet, trying to get likes, shares, and subscribes, and want somebody to be on their side because somebody didn't fold their napkin correctly in the hotel. Because they didn't know when they went to West Africa that they might not have 24-hour power because of the way the system is set up, because of the economy, based on what happened in West Africa. If you're going to Africa now, you should be a pioneer. You should be part of the solution. Meaning, if you go to a place and they don't have 24-hour power, your thinking should be, damn, how can I make money off of that? How can I bring solar power into this area and generate my own power? How can I contribute to make it so the electric bill, the electric grid is straight and concurrent, and I can somehow find a profit? That's your mind. That's what you should be thinking. If you're an African American, you want Africa to rescue you, you need to wait about 30 or 40 years because we got to go to work first. If you looking to go to Africa to be rescued, you want a rescue already made, cooked, prepared, packaged, seasoned rescue package from Africa, you need to wait 30 or 40 years because right now Africa is under construction. The only people that really need to be going to Africa are people who are trying to do construction. Builders. Not people who's running away from the Western society, looking for Western luxuries in a continent that's being ravaged so that you can have your Western luxuries. Because all the Western luxuries that we enjoy, that we take for granted, that you go to Africa and complain about, right? We're getting all those things from Africa, the place that you go to and seeing the result of that exploitation. Then you complain about it like a spoiled, unaware, unintelligent, unknowledgeable Westerner. That's what's happening. We need to raise the level of our education and understanding of where we're going and what we're doing before we go to these places. When I go to Africa, I got homeboys that want to drop everything they have and come to America. My homeboy, he done graduated college. He's successful. He got a family. You know, this dude owns acres and acres of land. The dude owns hotels. He thinks it's a good idea to sell all of that and move to Canada so he can have reoccurring bills. You see, Africans don't know about reoccurring bills. They don't know about that monthly billing cycle. They don't know about that. Most of the world don't know about that Western capitalistic slavery debt cycle that we are trapped in. And when they get here, it's too late and they get stuck here, right? Now that's why every African you see in America got 2 goddamn jobs, right? They work 80 hours a week, right? Killing themselves, always at work, right? Because they had to buy that big expensive ass freaking cardboard house that they bought, right? The big expensive cardboard house they spent $1 million on, right? Even though the house they had in their own land was bigger, stronger, with more land, and it cost a fraction of the price and a fraction of the stress, right? Nobody tells them about that. Just like nobody tells us, hey, if you go over there, you got to be able to be self-sufficient for right now, because Africa is building. It's not ready for people who just want to willy-nilly get up and go. Now there are certain, like Kenya. Okay, Kenya is one of those countries maybe you can get up and go, kinda. All right, South Africa, maybe you can get up and go, kinda. You know, that Lagos, you can get up and go. You can get up and go, kinda. You know, Accra, if you want to just concentrate in Accra, you can get up and go. But Lagos, if Accra is too small for you, you need to go to Nigeria. All right, Nigeria is ready to go. Right, they just, man, y'all watch when Nigeria get on deck. But so when you encounter ignorance, you have to stop it right there. Because right now, everybody's having circular conversations and panels, useless conversations, hurting each other's feelings because somebody said something about somebody said something about somebody, right? And that's the same thing that happened within the African countries, within African people, because African people have a propensity to just fight each other just for no reason. African people have a propensity to fight and beef with each other with 100% force while giving everybody else on the planet the benefit of the doubt while they're stabbing us in the back. For some, it's like we don't even feel it. It's like we don't, they're stabbing us in the back and we're just like, I'd rather concentrate on my brother right here because his dreadlock is over here and I don't agree. It should definitely be over here. It's the stupidest shit and it's all in our minds, and it's a white Western way of thinking that we have to get out of our heads. It's effing us up, right? So that lady, for all the complaints that she had, she should have already known about all. She came on the internet running her mouth about things that she should have been fully prepared to know before going in there. And as an adult, as a rational thinking adult, she should have been ready to deal with, to have tough skin to deal with when going into these countries. If she wanted to establish herself. Understand, when you go to another country, you have to deal with their problems. When you leave America's problems, you go to another place, you have another set of problems that you are required to deal with. And that's just what it's going to be. If you want a perfect planet that's going to do everything for you, then go buy an island somewhere and start your own country and operate it the way you want to operate it. In the meantime, in between times, there's too many things going on that's bigger than me, bigger than you, bigger than just black people, bigger than just, it's too many things that's going on that's coinciding with all this international business, this moving, this flying, this passport. There's too much things going on for anybody to concentrate on you and why your napkin's not folded right and why one dude keeps asking you, for money to carry your bags at the airport. Listen, when I go to Mexico, the same shit happened in Mexico. All right? As soon as I get out the goddamn airport, they begging and this and that. You go to the Philippines, same shit. When I was in the Philippines, I had whole villages begging me. It was the craziest shit. I ain't never had people beg me more than when I was in the Philippines. But you don't hear nobody talking about that. You don't hear about the rest of the world we call third world, they're all pretty much living on the same, listen, outside of America and the West, who had 500 years of human exploitation to get to this level that you enjoy, the rest of the world were being exploited for that 500 years. So they're going through some shit. So most of their people, Africa and Asia and Europe, they're all on the same, they're all living on the same amount of money. Less than a couple $100 a month. All of it, all Asia, all Europe, all Africa, all everywhere. Less than a couple $100 a month. Only Americans and maybe some French and a few Englishmen and a few Dutch, right? The former slave freaking masters, and they're all them cousins and uncle cousins and shit, all them kings and shit, King Charles and shit. That whole fucking family and their whole freaking inbred family is all of them, and they cousins in them countries that they created. Those are the places that got to exploit and got to use the money and invest into their systems and look at their cities. Right? This is the first time they ever built some shit. They're just because they've been fighting and killing each other for what? Since they existed. They ain't never built shit until they stole it from us. Right? But the rest of the world, they're pretty much on the same plane. It's we who do not know. It's we who gotta go spend $1,000 for a pill that if you go to go to another country, get that same pill, it's like 50 cents. Y'all just don't understand who's really getting exploited. It's us, Americans. We are getting exploited in our own way. We think we're bigger than we are, but not really. We're just cogs in a very big machine of capitalism and slavery. All right, so we African people, we need to raise our intellectual understanding, raise our cultural awareness, have empathy for other African people who African countries are in different economic situations based off recent history. We have to give them time to prepare themselves. These African countries are younger than most of your grandmamas. The lady in the video is probably older than all the West African countries. She's about as old as the countries themselves. Okay? America took 200, almost 300 years to get to this position just now. And that was with free labor from us. It took 200-300 years, free labor from us. It took Europeans to weaken themselves through consistent centuries worth of wars, all right? And it still took multiple wars that killed millions of Europeans for Europeans to get to this position that they are in today. The position that African people have been in hundreds of times over throughout human history. This is their first time on top. We've been on top so many times we can't even count. Right? But look what it took to get them there. And you giving us, and so you expect, as an African, you expect Africa to be prepared, to have all the Western amenities, right? Everything prepared, set, the government, competent politics, competent politicians that have been schooled in the art of politics through reputable sources, right? Governments able to spend their money in their institutions to build up the infrastructure. You expect all that to happen within 60-something years. We just got to our third or fourth stage of revolution 60 years ago. We all been doing this shit at the same goddamn time. All of us. No African is better than any other African. We're all in different situations because of the same white European barbarian that's too lazy to do anything for themselves. But somehow got lucky enough to advance that damn gun. Because if it wasn't for that goddamn gun and cannon, none of this shit would ever happen. So, it took me a long time to, I had to really think about this because it's just ridiculous, the conversations that we're having. It's ridiculous. It's a waste of time. That's why I don't even engage in a lot of I be wanting to jump on a lot of these panels, but I'll listen to them for a while and I see who's talking. I'm like, damn, that's so ridiculous. This conversation's going nowhere. Because a lot of these people, they don't want to have conversations to resolve issues. They want to have conversations to get likes, shares, YouTube, white people money, and to get validation for their own personal feelings. They're not really about that. Just like you got a bunch of fake Pan-Africans who like the name Pan-African, but they don't know the first thing about Pan-Africanism, making Pan-Africanism look bad. I'm finding out that you got people who think, like, if you're a Pan-African and you're talking shit about African Americans, you're not a Pan-African. Like Pan-Africanism 101, you gotta love yourself first. African Americans, that's yourself if you're here, all right? If you don't love your African American tribe, well, how the fuck are you gonna love somebody else? If you don't love your own African American tribe and you don't honor them, if you don't praise them, how the fuck are you gonna praise somebody else? That don't even make sense, all right? And Pan-Africanism should not be used to attack any other group of black people. As a Pan-African, if you're gonna do anything, if you're gonna let somebody stab you in the back, if you're gonna get stabbed in the back, right? You're supposed to get stabbed in the back by your brother and sister while you're fighting for them, unbeknownst to them. That's what you're supposed to do, all right? Because your enemy is supposed to be that barbarian, that savage, the one who started all this shit. Those keep in mind who the enemy is. Because all these black people at these little groups, these little clubs, y'all keep forgetting who the enemy is. All you black people in your tribes, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, y'all keep forgetting who the enemy is. And that is the downfall of black people. Black people are so busy in the house fighting their brother and sister, they keep forgetting who the fuck is outside with the goddamn fire sounding like the fucking house on fire. Huh? Who is outside trying to light the fucking house on fire? Why are you fighting your brother and sister? We can do that shit later. All right? Pan-Africans are on the porch. Sister and brother in the house fight. We on the porch. We don't fight that small fight, really. We fight the big fight, the real battle. So if you're a Pan-African and you fight in FBA and ADOS, you're not living up to Pan-Africanism. You're not being a Pan-African. You're just not. And if you're an FBA and you're ADOS and you make it your business, if you think to build tribal pride as an African American, you think to build tribal pride as an African American, if you think the way to do that is to talk shit about other people, then you're a sad example of an African American. And I'm glad that those people who are so low thinking, that are so unintelligent, that are so unaware of history, that are so unaware of political and social and economic situation us African Americans have been in, that are so unaware of everything that actually goes on outside of their orbit, I'm so glad that they decided to call themselves something else other than African American, because that would be an embarrassment to me. Because you don't need to shit on another group of Africans to bring pride to yourself as an African American. That means you don't have pride within yourself, so you got to go cut somebody down. That's what everybody else does to us. That's what everybody else does to us. They cut us down because they're jealous of us. They cut us down because they're not natural geniuses like us, because they're not architects like us, because they don't have the rich history like us, because they don't have all the advanced technologies that brought all this modern day shit. They don't have this shit like us. They can't run as fast as us. They're not as strong as us. Their twitch muscles not as good as us. They can't flow with rhythm as much as us. They don't vibrate the way we do. They are not as cool as us. They're not as influential as us. They're not as anything as us. That's why they make it their business in their societies, Arabs, Indians, Europeans, to tell their people that we ain't shit and they did better than them, because they have to deal with their insecurities when they're comparing themselves to us. And so we got to deal with all these insecure ass human being children that we done created as Africans. The last thing we need to do with is the rest of us dealing with just being jealous of us. It's the stupidest shit. What we need to do is take everything within context, right? Ghana, West Africa, y'all need to get y'all fucking shit together and stop being so fucking corrupt in these airports. Your police should be not so fucking corrupt. Stop begging for money because you look like fucking cowards. You look like losers. You look weak. You make us look soft. And that's not the African way. Soft. Don't tell me how strong you are. Don't tell me how powerful you are about your tribe. Don't tell me shit about your tribe. I don't want to hear none of you Igbos and Yorubas and Hausas and Akans and none of you motherfuckers talking shit how powerful and strong and how powerful you are about your tribes when you got your very same tribesmen people begging like vagabonds on the street wearing your most beautiful, precious freaking representation of your country. When y'all walking around with your uniform, your point of pride, and you guys are walking around begging the world to give you some shit when y'all have every fucking thing. Y'all need to change your mind, and that's just what it is. African Americans, stop being so fucking arrogant. Stop being so, you're not a premium black. You just an African. You know, all you motherfuckers that don't want to be African, well, fuck it, I don't give a, we don't care about you. If you want to be an Indian, go right ahead. Be an Indian, no one cares. Go be an Indian, just don't tell us we ain't African. Go be an Indian over there. And go deal with Indian politics in America, and I hope shit works out for you. But honestly, man, we need to mature, be smarter. Because if we don't adapt to the new environment, it's the age of information. That means there's nothing wrong about it. You got to be smart now. Being dumb ain't no excuses. Can't be dumb. You got to be smart and arrogant about it. Be smart and be arrogant about it. That should be your center of pride. Being intelligent and aware. The more you know. Right? And start adding context to your conversations. And stop begging white YouTube for like shares and subscriptions. Black Mirror had a whole episode about this like 10 years ago that this shit was going to happen. Right? Y'all remember? If y'all know Black Mirror on Netflix, they had a whole episode about this. And we are here. Okay? So y'all African American women, calm the hell down. Y'all, hey, Y'all African American women need to close your mouth sometimes. Sometimes y'all need to close your mouths and just do this a little bit first and get all that shit. Get all that shit out of there. Get some of that shit out. All right, nobody trying to hear all that shit all the time. They not trying to hear that shit all the time. Get that arrogance out of you and go humble yourselves like we used to be back when the black family worked. And that's just objective speaking, because when the black family worked, the African man knew how to act like an actual man, stoic, strong. The black woman knew how to be emotional, strong, and supportive. And sometimes you gotta know when to shut the fuck up. Anyway, tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section. I was all over the place on this. I didn't quite concentrate specifically, but I just thought this is just what I had to say, all right, about the situation, and that's just what it is. This is why y'all watch me anyway. Anyway, tell me what y'all think about this in the comment section. Just Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something.